Griner, an American basketball star who had been imprisoned on drug charges, was traded for Viktor Bout, a Russian arms dealer. President Biden said Griner would be back in the United States within 24 hours. Brittney Griner, the American basketball star imprisoned in Russia, was released in an exchange for the convicted Russian arms dealer Viktor Bout, President Biden announced on Thursday. The trade ended 10 months of captivity for Ms. Griner, whose conviction on drug smuggling charges became an international cause, entangled in Russia's deteriorating relations with the United States since Moscow's invasion of Ukraine. Speaking from the White House with Ms. Griner's wife Cherelle by his side, Mr. Biden said that he had spoken with Ms. Griner and that she would be back in the United States within 24 hours. Brittney will soon be back in the arms of her loved ones, and she should have been there all along, he said. Here is what to know: Russian officials refuse to free another jailed American, Paul Whelan, despite ceaseless efforts by U.S. diplomats to include him in an exchange, Secretary of State Antony J. Blinken said. While we celebrate Brittney's release, Paul Whelan and his family continue to suffer needlessly, Mr. Blinken said. The trade freed Viktor Bout, one of the most notorious arms dealers of modern times, who earned the nickname Merchant of Death as he evaded capture for years. He was convicted in 2011 by a New York jury on 4 counts that included conspiring to kill Americans. Before her release, Ms. Griner was described by one of her lawyers as struggling emotionally and increasingly worried that she would not be freed. Arrested in February at an airport outside Moscow for carrying vape cartridges containing hashish oil in her luggage, she was convicted of drug smuggling, had been transferred to one of Russia's most feared penal colonies, where former inmates have described torture, harsh beatings and slave labor. The swap may have been an effort by President Vladimir Putin's government to divert attention from Russia's flailing war effort in Ukraine. In recent days, Ukrainian forces have struck military bases inside Russian territory with long-range drones, demonstrating their intent to bring the conflict closer to Moscow. On Wednesday, Mr. Putin acknowledged in a televised speech that Russians should expect a protracted war. Cherelle Griner, the wife of basketball star Brittney Griner, stood next to President Biden at the White House during his announcement about her wife's release on Thursday and said she had endured some of the darkest moments of her life since her partner's arrest in Moscow in February.